Big bank, small bank, I like to make money.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Price Check. Now, I'd like to preface this one a little bit by asking for some, well, price checks from you guys. If you've got a rare item in either hardcore or softcore, but please do let me know which league it's in before you link it to me, then I would love you, if you have questions on it, to link it below the stream, or pardon me, below the YouTube video. Been too used to streaming lately, and I will attempt to use some of the better ones, some of the more interesting items in the next episode of Price Check, if we get enough responses. Basically, what I want to do is change up the format a little bit and start to incorporate some price checks from you guys and from my stream and put those maybe towards the start or the end of the video. That may very well replace the random tab full of rare gear. Probably not, though, since that is kind of the core of the series and what people watch it for. Or it might just augment the episodes as we have 3 or 4 interesting items guaranteed each time, provided, of course, I get enough responses. So if you've got things that you think are interesting, you can't figure out the price on, and you'd like a little bit of help, then link them below. I will grab a few of them and throw them into next episode. I was about to say tomorrow's episode, but it may not be tomorrow. I get to these whenever I have the time, usually every 2 to 3 days. But with that aside, for anybody who's just tuning in on this episode and doesn't understand what's happening, so basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a stash tab full of unidentified rare gear. We're going to be pricing it. We're going to be giving I'm going to be giving my justification behind why I price things the way I do, and then I'm going to be listing it and hopefully getting some sales. So all of that is with the intended goal of teaching some of you fine folks exactly how you can price check your own gear through example, because that is how I learn best, and I know it's how a lot of other people might learn best as well. So with all that said, but none of it yet done, let's get down to business. We've got 100 life and +1 max fire res. That's actually seems good. That's a pretty darn high life roll for a shield just by itself without a hybrid life roll or strength or something like that. It is T2 max fire res though. Any RF build that's going to want to use that for the max fire res is going to be a bit disappointed in that, because it's not 2%, it's 1%, and that is strictly worse than both the other shield options out there right now, which would be Rise of the Phoenix and what's the name of it? Sapphal's Frame. I don't think the 9 cold resistance is going to make up for that, and neither is the 53% energy shield. So despite the fact that we might have a decent starting core, we just don't have the item around it, and even that max fire res isn't quite good enough, so I'm just going to hand that over to Navali. Got a Stygian Vise here. It is only light on level 74, so I'm not going to keep this to craft on at all, and the rolls are pretty junk. We've got some reduced flask strategies and fire res. Those are good things, but we're missing life or any other flask or damage-related rolls that might have made it good. Behemoth Shatter. We've got no life on this one, would be what I'd first look for on basically any jewel. And at the start of these episodes, I will go over each item a little bit more in depth, and as we keep going, I'm going to get faster and faster in each one, so we won't be spending 30 to 40 seconds per item. But that aside, attack speed, crit multi, you guys know the drill if you're regulars of the series. That's what we're looking for on a jewel. We got some strength, we got some res, but it's pretty garbage res. No life. A low-ish flat cold to attacks is not going to salvage that. And gripped gloves, we are looking for flat damage to attacks. Flat fizz is probably best, but LE rolls can be worth something. Attack speed as well is a pretty high priority, and then life and res like any armor piece. Really here all we've got is the res and on the LE roll. Actually, I think that's it's not particularly high. Well, that's not actually accurate, the T7. I believe that's higher than T7 for gloves. I might be wrong on that. In previous metas, a pair of high level 84 grip gloves would have been worth something just by itself, but they're a lot more common than they used to be, so I think it's still just vendor food. Imbued Wand. Not really even sure what sort of Elder mods we'd be looking for on a wand. I believe Shaper can get flat lightning damage added per int, which can be worth something on some attack-based wands, but this is certainly not what we want. You know, the percent lightning damage, area damage, int, the int roll is decently high, at least, but it's not really where we want it. Not on a wand. You're looking for, like, crit multi, attack speed, flat LE rolls on wands generally. I think that still holds true even on an Elder base. God, that's pretty garbage. Yeah, not really much to talk about there. 18 multi, fairly low. Multi crit chance, definitely things I'm looking for. Onyx base, also good, but life and res are vacant. Mana, garbage, cold res. Nothing else really great. 6 to 12 flat fizz, the only thing of note on this ring. It being a diamond base, that could have been valuable if, of course, it had the rest of the package, which it didn't. Decent amount of res. It's a life implicit. If that lightning damage roll were better, and it also had maybe a wed roll on it or something along those lines, I would consider crafting life, especially because it's a coral ring base, so it's already got some life in the implicit. So even with a crafted life roll, you're looking at like 60-ish to 70-ish total life, and that's respectable for a ring. So could have been good. It got pretty close. Early on in the league, I might have crafted life on this and sold it, but early on in the league, it's a lot more of a risk to craft life like that, you know, because it's 4C and much more significant portion of your currency most of the time. Again, 2 good res rolls, but again, not good enough to be crafting life onto. 70 life, 26 cold res, some stats on the implicit. It does have room for 1 crafted res, might sell for a few chaos. We'll list it. We've got percent evasion, but that's not particularly useful, though. I mean, it can be nice for Queen of the Forest, but that's not really relevant here. You'd be looking for life. You'd be looking for probably some flat damage rolls, since Queen of the Forest builds are usually something like a Wind Ripper. 49 dex, pretty mediocre flat ES. 9 all attributes, 11 dexterity, not particularly impressive. Nothing really of note there either. A mediocre res roll. Looking for an unset ring. I say this almost every episode, but plus socketed gems is your priority. That's really what you're looking out for. Tomahawk, not a great base. We've got some crit multi. We've got a bit of flat Ellie damage, but really that's all I know, all I see there. Life, res, and movement speed are all missing, so boots will likely not sell. 29 life is a bit too low to make this worthwhile. Unfortunate. If it were a bit higher, it could probably have sold for a bit. If I could switch that accuracy and life roll, or just do away with the accuracy and have a higher life roll, that'd be great. Some cold damage to attacks and percent cold damage, obviously synergistic, but it is on a chaos res base, and that's not particularly highly valued, especially in softcore. Some flat ES, that's rather low. Terrible res. Rarity is not a very important stat. 25 life, fairly low. 8 all attributes, also low. 40 lightning res will not save that. 66 mana regen, some mana leech to, or fizz attack damage leeches life, which again can be a relevant roll, but really needs a good foundation to build off of if you're going to want to take that into account when pricing your item. Flat ES. No percent ES to go with it though, which is usually what I look for when I see a high flat ES roll. That or like a strength roll, that can be good. Res, obviously. 1 to 5 lightning damage to attack certainly isn't what I want. 63 mana, some dex, nothing of note there. Same, just garbage. No movement speed, mediocre life roll. Spell totems, not gonna save you. 2 good stat rolls, that's about it. 45 ES again, but missing anything else that would give it worth. 37 strength, and a cold res roll. And that's not too good by itself. It is an eye level 83 Elder Touch 2-stone ring though, so that likely holds some value just by dint of the base, and even if it doesn't, I want to use it in the Elder recipe, so we won't vendor it. We'll see whether or not that just has value by itself. Let me pop these away and head on over to the browser window. Boom. Where I was looking to buy an Elder Touch Astral Plate earlier. So, 2-stone. Item level, 83 plus. Elder Touched, yes. Let's see what we've got. We've got 8 chaos or so, it seems. 8, 9 chaos. Let's put it up for 8 and get it to sell relatively quickly. I'm cool with that. Okay. Vroom, back in game. And this thing will just kind of list for the lowest price that I list anything at, which is 4C. Not too confident in its ability to sell. That's not the right tab. But no harm in listing it, really. Alright. Here you are, Navali. Take another pile of my garbage, please. And hopefully I'll find something decent in here. That's not a good start, though. Attack speed, percent life, lightning res, fizz damage reduction. It's even got a good implicit. 9% movement speed is actually quite nice. We might have found something good. What does this have? Open prefix? You can craft flat life on that. Yeah, it's a pretty good shield. I don't really know who's going to be searching for that. It seems like a fairly niche item. A lot of shield builds will use something like Lycosidae or maybe Eshe's Mirror, or if they're RF, they'll go like Rise of the Phoenix, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of really powerful, unique shields, and generally speaking, as well as that, there's a lot of dual wielding builds right now because of the power of stat sticks. So I really don't know how many people are going to be looking for this shield, but it is worth crafting the life onto, I think, if only because it's a strong shield for anybody who wants to use it. Honestly, I might just use that in a build somewhere. That's a very powerful item. Cool. Dex, strength, 10 all res. That's just trash. As is this. 4 all res, some flat ES, some weds, some chaos res. Interesting ring. It does have some pretty high rolls, but not where it needs them, I don't think. 30 all attributes, spell damage, life. And then the implicit as well. So that's a total of 54 strength and 54 int, which is really good, actually. Spell damage, sadly the life is pretty low, but it is augmented by the fact that it's got 50-something strength, so that's, 70-ish life? 65 to 70 or so. Does that have an open suffix? It does not. The percent lightning damage and the mana gained on kill are both garbage. I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to check and see the value of this with a crafted res roll, and if it's worth enough, which it very well might be, I'm not certain. If it's worth enough with a crafted res roll, then I might annul it to try and hit one of those bad suffixes and then craft on a res roll. Could be fun. Titan Gauntlets is a good base, isn't it? High level 83. People might be looking for that. We should check. Nope, no life. Same here. We got crit multi. We've got res and fizz mana leech, but the crit multi is pretty low. One of the res is bad, and fizz mana leech again is not enough to make an item. 52 life, some res early on in the league. This could sell. Now these rolls are a little too mediocre, I think. At least it could probably sell for like 2 or 3C, but I'm not bothering with sales on that level anymore. 48 strength does have room for life, but I don't think it's worth crafting it. It's really just a strength roll and a res roll. 53 strength, but again, not much else. Crafted life is a bit better on armor. 5 all attributes, 60 total strength. Interesting. It's got some percent ES too, but it's a fairly low roll. Generally, you want something at least above 15% before I really start considering a percent ES roll to be adding that much value. 28 flat ES, some cast speed. This would have been amazing if it had a percent ES roll on it actually instead of that percent armor. Could have been worth quite a bit. As it stands, I don't think it is. Does it have room for crafted percent ES? It does not. Because of that percent armor, it's getting in the way. Well, you could also argue because of the flat fizz, which is fairly irrelevant. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing a good, ES caster amulet with a lot of cast speed, with some flat ES, with good stats they might need. Int obviously augments your ES. Strength is something that's often needed, and this has over 60 strength on it, including the implicit. But, I don't think it's good enough to be worth annulling. We can list it. Maybe someone has a search specifically for annul-worthy amulets for their build. That's not very likely, but why not? We're going to check the value of these Titan Gauntlets, so we can just type that in here since all the other factors remain the same. And we see that they're about 8 chaos for the base, though a lot of these have been up for a while, so we're just going to list them for 5 and see if they sell quickly. Cool. I want to check and see whether or not that amulet without a, or with a crafted res roll will be worth something. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor in everything else. So we're going to get some percent spell damage in there. This is over 20. Let's just do over 18 on this search. We're going to look for a total strength of 45 plus, and a life total of somewhere between, well, just over 60. We'll do that. And resistance, pseudo total elemental resistance, Between, well, it's going to be crafted res, so let's go between like 20, but maximum 40, see what we find. 19 results, so we're looking at things with like the 1 to 2 chaos range. This does have, you know, an all res roll instead of a crafted res roll, but this is actually fairly comparable to our amulet, and it's 2 chaos for 3 weeks, so you can see that this doesn't really have that much value. 30 all attributes is a bit more valuable than just strength, and it's got the int as well. I mean, we could factor that in and see if that lends all that much value to it. So we put in also over 45 int and see if we come up with something. 5 results, and actually that has skyrocketed the price up fairly significantly, but how long have these been up? This has been up for 2 weeks, it's been up for a month, it's been up for a week, 3 weeks. This is not promising. These aren't priced, and we've got 2 items to compare against, 58 chaos and 1 exalt. This is much higher life than ours. This is basically our amulet, but a good amount better because it's got much higher life. It does have the crafted res I'd be aiming for. I don't think it's worth risking in a null to you know, make a item that looks like it has probably a lot less than exalt value, because this has been up for a month without selling. So that's just going to become vendor food, unfortunately. But the research was done, things were learned, that's what's important. And last but not least, I want to look for a similar shield to this one. I'm really not certain if we'll be able to find much on the market, but it doesn't hurt to check. So, shield. We're going to look for maximum life, percentage maximum life. That, just put that in as a value, I'm not going to specify a floor. Attack speed. And flat life as well, since we can craft that on. And crafted flat life on a shield, let me just check real fast. I believe it's about 60-ish, yeah. So we're gonna do like 50 to 80, let's say. It's a little high. 1x. It has a really low percent life compared to ours, because ours goes up to 10. It does have higher life, but not by all that much, and a higher res total. It's been up for 19 hours, which is, I suppose, somewhat promising. Let's check offline as well. Ours also has fizz mitigation. That's a good amount worse than ours. Yeah. Has about crafted life range, but again, 3% max life. Let's just sort by the percent increased life. 10% life, attack speed. Better life than what we can get for 1x. Crafted life, all res, percent life, attack speed. This is similar to ours. A bit messier though, up for 30 chaos. And then we're getting down into percent life rolls that are significantly lower. You know, 6, 6, that sort of thing. Looks like I can craft flat life on this and maybe list it for, since we have a good res roll and also 4% additional physical damage reduction, and it's a good base with movement speed, I think I can put this up for like 2x to start with and get away with that. Maybe it doesn't sell. There's not a very large market, it seems like, but very nice item, I would say. So yeah, we'll just craft a flat life roll on that, and we'll put that bad boy up for 2x. And we'll see whether or not we can get a sale. One of the more interesting finds of late, I'd say. And if it doesn't sell for a while, I might just end up using it myself. It's a really powerful looking shield, actually. Alright. Last batch, Navali, I promise. I don't even know what you're really looking for in a Elder Quiver. Shaper is the one who's got some real nice quivers. But that certainly isn't it. 17 life. It's got crit chance, cold res, so, you know, it had a good starting point, but 1 to 2 flat fire and 17 life really doesn't help it. Increased duration is actually what I'm looking for in Elder Boots. That's one of the more valuable mods they can roll that's Elder specific. But it would still need life and movement speed to be worth using. And Elder one-handers are generally not very good either. And, yeah. 39 life, no res, 32 int, not very good. So, nothing in that final little batch, but that's about it for the episode. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, reminder, if you've got something interesting that you want price checked, put it below in the comments beneath this video. I'd be happy to take a look at it. You know, if we get like 50, then I might not be able to get to all of them, but I don't think that'll happen. probably just get enough for next episode. I'll feature like 3 to 5 interesting things at the end of the episode. So if you want your item featured in the next episode and you also want some advice on how to price check it, then please do leave it below. I'll be happy to take a look. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope to see you on the stream as well, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time every day. I'm there 8 hours a day. Go ahead and tune in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.